Welcome back, and let's look at the markets. I can tell you it's a better day, and after trying so hard yesterday, some of the markets finally managing to hang on to the gains in stocks today. Asian markets ending mostly higher this morning. In Hong Kong, the stocks edged up, helped by earnings surprises by some internet and consumer companies. Chinese shares fell, though, on fears of contagion risks in the country's struggling real estate sector, triggering a sell-off by foreign investors. The Nikkei in Japan, 0.5% firmer, though. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng also up just under 0.5%. And in China, the Shanghai Composite Index slumping 1.3% there. So mixed at the moment, but let's look over to Wall Street that ended. The Dow Jones S&P ending slightly lower on Tuesday as investors remained worried that the Fed Reserve will keep interest rates higher for longer. And as the bank's shares eased, financials were the biggest drag on the S&P 500, which lost 0.25%. The Nasdaq Composite gaining a small fraction, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 0.5%. Let's bring it home. The rand has rallied after data showed inflation, or the rate at which prices are rising, has slowed. The rand, of course, has been strengthening for 5 days after dropping dramatically earlier in the month. Headline consumer inflation fell to 4.7% in July compared to the same month last year. That is a bigger drop than expected, and it is the lowest level we've seen in 2 years. It's down from 5.4%. Now, remember, the Reserve Bank targets inflation of between 3 and 6%. So we're smack bang somewhere in the middle to ensure that prices are rising, but at a reasonable rate, and that goods and services don't become unaffordable. When the prices go up too quickly, the bank then raises interest rates. That what we've seen for several months, and that's to help consumers have less in their pockets. Essentially, that leads to less demand for goods, which usually results in price falls. Now, at the same time, the JSE looks set to hold on to those gains. Let's take a look, although it seems to have just dipped. If we bring up the all-share index on the JSE, you'll see 0.7% up at 73,829. Currencies in the last hour, the rand trading at 18 rand 74 to the dollar. Much better than it has been, although not as good as the start of the month. 23 rand 67 to the pound, 20 rand 25 to the euro. And commodities, gold is at $1,901, platinum at $923 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is $83.56 per barrel. Okay, let's bring in a senior sales trader at Thrive South Africa. That's Sean Dendere. Sean, thank you for being with us. Let's start. Can we celebrate today's inflation figure at a 2-year low?
First of all, thank you for having me today. Yes, I think there is cause for celebration with inflation coming in at that really nice number, that 4.7%. Like you alluded to earlier, slip bang in the middle of the Reserve Bank target. I think that, I'm going to just dive into that inflation number that we got today. I think, yes, we can celebrate. However, there is, a bit of concern on my side in that would this mean that the Reserve Bank is going to, lower the interest rates or stop hiking interest rates? That remains to be answered, and this will follow for the back of what happens in the United States. And then just looking at South Africa, the inflation may have decreased, but consumers have been suffering due to, the high interest rate environment that we are living in. So people have really tightened their belts. So from a consumer perspective, there may be less demand that is pushing, prices down in general.
So, inflation positive on one hand, but like you say, an indicator of a very depressed economy in general.
Yes, that's correct. The number is really positive, but the factors that I believe are pushing that number down are quite negative.
Okay, so the rand was happy, the rand rallied, but can our currency hold on to those gains? It's been stronger for 5 days, but it started off the month at, I think, 1787. So it's lost almost a rand against the dollar in terms of exchange. Can it hold on to this recovery?
I think in the short to medium term, I do believe that, the rand can hold on to this recovery. And if we're looking at the rand historically, when we go towards the final quarter of the year, the rand tends to be quite strong. You'll see that also if we're looking at the dollar has also been weakening in general. And that's just due to the fact that we have no idea if the Fed is going to, keep the interest rates the same, or they're going to keep rising. And then that comes down to what Jerome Powell will say at the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium this coming few days. So with the rand, it's a wait and see approach. But for now, I do believe that, it can hold on to its strength in the medium to short term.
So, Sean, earlier you didn't tell me what many South Africans want to hear, that there will be no more rate increases. You said it's based on what happens globally, and you've alluded to the United States. I mean, what are the expectations there? Because I saw that Treasury yields have eased. Just tell us about inflation expectations and the expectations around a possible interest rate hike in the US right now.
All right. So economic data in the US shows that inflation is cooling in the United States. However, it is still well above the Federal Reserve's target range of 2%. So I do not believe that, we are going to see a moratorium on, interest rate hikes. I do think that there may be maybe a couple sessions where they do not hike, but there are still hikes coming into play in the economy. As if we look back at South Africa, I'm just going to compare it to South Africa quickly, is that when your reserve banks or the Federal Reserves, when they have a target, they will really chase that target relentlessly, regardless of what's happening, in the economy at large.
All right, let's end with tech stocks, because yesterday we saw a rally in tech stocks, and that's all about the chip maker, NVIDIA, and expectations. But of course, we haven't seen actually the bottom line and the results. What are you expecting when NVIDIA reports later?
So I expect NVIDIA to carry on releasing some positive, strong results. I think analysts are anticipating 110% increase in revenue. And NVIDIA has been an interesting AI company, because if you look at the S&P 500 this year, it has been in the green. However, there has been a lot of concentration risk based on all the tech stocks that have been performing quite well, and that the tech stock rally has really been driven by NVIDIA. The results now will also test, the tech industry in seeing if there is still a lot more demand in the AI chips that we are seeing currently. So we are expecting, in a nutshell, we are expecting a strong performance in the third quarter from NVIDIA.
All right, and that's all about the hopes around AI and future gains as well. Thank you very much, Sean Dendere from Tribe, and we'll follow NVIDIA results, a big global chip maker, and it's soared last time because of those hopes around artificial intelligence driving up that section of markets. Let's take a short break, lots more to come on Points.